Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving deep into the world of mules.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and we've got some fascinating stuff from our listener this time. A collection of notes and even a YouTube video featuring a couple of mules named Chief and Joy.
Wow.
It seems our listeners on this quest to uncover the secrets behind these, well, often misunderstood animals, and I have a feeling we're about to discover why mules might just be the unsung heroes of the equine world.
I love it.
So,
Yeah.
what's the real story behind these, as many people say, half-horse, half-donkey creatures?
Well, you're right to call that out, that half horse, half donkey thing. That's the key.
Uh-huh.
A mule is the offspring of a male donkey called a jack and a female horse called a mare.
Okay.
And it's not just a simple blend.
Right.
It's a genetic power move. We call it hybrid vigor, inheriting this unique combination of traits that often makes them stronger, hardier, and more sure-footed than either of their parents.
Hybrid vigor, huh? Sounds like they're getting the best of both worlds.
Definitely.
But the speaker in the video we got goes even further, claiming that mules are better than horses in many ways.
Okay.
Isn't that a bit of a stretch?
Well, better can be subjective, of course.
Yeah.
But let's consider why someone might think that way.
Okay.
Take their strength, for example.
Okay.
Mules inherit the incredible strength and sure-footedness of their donkey fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Picture them navigating treacherous mountain trails, carrying heavy packs with ease.
No.
They're practically built for tough terrain.
Right, like mountain goats.
Exactly.
But what about their horse heritage?
Oh, yeah.
Don't they get something from that side of the family tree, too?
Absolutely. So while their strength is from the donkey side, their size and stamina are often attributed to their horse mothers.
Interesting.
Think of it this way. You combine the donkey's raw power with the horse's endurance,
Yeah.
and you have an animal that can work longer and carry heavier loads than a donkey.
Okay, so they're strong.
Yeah.
They have stamina. It's a winning combination.
For sure.
But what about their temperament?
Okay.
The video mentioned this fight versus flight response, and I have to admit, that got my attention.
It's a fascinating aspect of mule behavior.
Yeah.
Really highlights their unique blend of instincts. So horses, as you know, are known for their strong flight response.
Right.
When startled, their first instinct is to often bolt.
Yeah.
Donkeys, on the other hand,
Okay.
are more inclined to assess a situation before reacting.
Ah.
They have more of that fight instinct in them, which also makes them good protectors of other livestock, by the way.
So donkeys are the guardians and horses are the runners.
Pretty much.
Got it. But
Yeah.
where do mules fall on this spectrum? Were they more prone to fight or flight?
Mules inherit a bit of both, but they tend to lean more towards the cautious, assessing nature of their donkey fathers. Instead of immediately running away when spooked, they're more likely to stop, look, and listen, figure out if there's a real threat before reacting.
So they're less likely to panic and more likely to think things through.
Exactly.
That's almost unsettlingly intelligent.
Right.
And speaking of intelligence,
Yeah.
the video also mentions something about mules having almost 360-degree vision.
It's true.
Is that true? Can they really see all four of their feet and what's behind them?
It does sound like something out of a comic book, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's another advantage they inherit from donkeys.
Wow.
Their wide-set eyes and the shape of their heads gives them this incredible field of vision. Imagine being able to see almost everything around you without even turning your head.
That's some serious situational awareness.
It is.
No wonder they're known for being so sure-footed.
Right.
There's actually a part in the video where the speaker describes their mules, Chief and Joy, stopping dead in their tracks on a trail. Completely still, ears perked up, just taking everything in. It's like they had an internal radar scanning for potential threats.
That's a perfect example of their cautious nature and exceptional vision at work.
Right.
Constantly gathering information and making calculated decisions about how to proceed.
Wow.
And it's one reason why they've been trusted partners in so many different roles throughout history.
Okay, so we've established that mules are strong,
Yes.
sure-footed, and incredibly aware of their surroundings.
Definitely.
But let's talk about those roles.
Right.
What kind of jobs have mules held throughout history?
Well, for centuries, mules were essential for everything from agriculture to transportation.
Wow.
Think back to a time before cars and trucks.
Yeah.
How do you move goods, plow fields, or transport people across challenging terrain? You call in the mules. Their strength, stamina, and sure-footedness made them the perfect workhorses.
It's like they were the four-wheel drive vehicles of their time.
I like that.
So
Yeah,
they were the backbone of pre-industrial society.
you could say that. And their adaptability meant they were valuable all over the world,
Right.
from the mountains of the Andes to the deserts of the Middle East.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
What about today? Are mules still relevant in our modern mechanized world?
Absolutely. Their roles may have shifted, but they're still highly valued.
Okay.
Many people use them for trail riding and recreational activities, especially in rugged areas where their sure-footedness is a huge advantage.
Right.
Imagine riding a mule along a narrow mountain trail. You'd feel a lot more secure knowing your mount could handle any tricky footing.
I can see the appeal.
For sure.
A mule would definitely be the ultimate trail partner. Speaking of Chief and Joy on those trails,
Yeah.
the video mentioned their sizes. Joy is quite a bit bigger than Chief,
Whoa, interesting.
which made me wonder,
Yeah.
are all mules the same size?
That's a great question.
Or is there a range like with horses?
And it leads us to another fascinating aspect of mules. Their size variation is primarily determined by the breed of their mother, the horse.
Hold on, so the mother's breed determines the size,
Exactly.
not the father, the donkey.
You'll have draft mules,
Okay.
bred from large draft horse mares, like Percherons or Belgians. These mules are massive, standing well over 16 hands high and weighing over 2,000 pounds.
Wow, 2,000 pounds. That's like a small car.
They're still used for heavy work in some parts of the world.
So they're the heavy lifters of the mule world.
You could say that.
Wow.
Then you have saddle mules,
Okay.
bred from lighter horse breeds like quarter horses or thoroughbreds.
Right.
These mules are typically smaller, ranging from 14 to 16 hands high, and they're more suited for riding and lighter tasks.
Okay.
Even within saddle mules, you'll see variation.
Right.
The video mentioned Joy being around 975 pounds, while Chief is about 875 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a difference of 100 pounds, even though they're both saddle mules.
So even within that category, there's a range, all thanks to the mother horse. Which reminds me,
Yeah.
there's a part in the video where the speaker talks about the challenges of finding saddles that fit mules properly. They mention needing special equipment like breast collars and breechins.
Right.
Why don't regular horse saddles work on mules?
That gets into the finer points of mule conformation, their body structure. Yeah. Which is subtly but importantly different from a horse's.
Okay, so we're talking anatomy now.
We are.
Tell me, what are the key differences that make saddles such a tricky issue?
One of the biggest differences is in the shape of their backs. Mules tend to have flatter backs, lacking the pronounced withers.
Withers.
That's the bony ridge at the base of the neck, which you see in horses.
Oh, okay. So while a horse saddle is designed to fit snugly into those withers, a mule's flatter back means the saddle is more likely to slide around.
Exactly.
That doesn't sound very comfortable or safe.
No, not at all. Imagine going downhill and the saddle slides forward, or uphill and it slides back. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yikes.
That's where the breast collar and breechin come in.
Okay.
The breast collar prevents the saddle from sliding back, and the breechin, which goes around the mule's hindquarters, prevents it from sliding forward.
So it's like a two-part safety system.
Exactly. Keeps everything in place for both the rider and the mule.
It's amazing how such a subtle difference in anatomy can completely change the equipment needs.
Right.
It really highlights that you can't just treat a mule like a horse. There's a whole different level of understanding required.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the classic mule stereotype, their supposed stubbornness.
Oh, here we go.
The video touches on this, and I've got to admit, it's something I've always wondered about. Are mules really as stubborn as everyone says?
The stubborn mule. It's a stereotype that's been around forever, but it often comes from a misunderstanding of their intelligence and their strong self-preservation instincts.
So you're saying they're not actually stubborn? Come on, everyone knows mules are famous for digging in their heels.
Well, it's more nuanced than that. They're incredibly smart animals, and they're very aware of their surroundings and their own limits. Unlike horses, who might blindly follow a command, mules tend to think things through.
Oh, interesting.
If they sense danger or feel a task is unsafe, they're not going to just blindly obey.
So it's less about stubbornness and more about self-preservation.
Exactly.
They're assessing risks, making sure things are safe before proceeding.
Precisely. They're not trying to be difficult. They're simply prioritizing their safety. And let's be honest, wouldn't we all be better off if we stopped and assessed risks a little more often?
That's a good point. But doesn't this make them harder to train than horses? If they're constantly questioning and assessing, wouldn't that make training a bit of a tug-of-war?
Training a mule definitely requires a different approach than training a horse.
Okay.
You can't rely on force or dominance that's just going to create resistance.
Right.
Instead, you need to build trust, respect, and understanding. It's about clear communication, patience, and positive reinforcement.
So it's more about partnership than just giving commands.
Exactly. It's about working with their intelligence, not against it.
In the video, the speaker mentions how when they first got their mules, Chief and Joy, they were very wary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wouldn't let the speaker get close. But with patience and consistent positive interactions, they eventually earned the mule's trust. And now those mules come running for grain whenever they see the speaker.
Wow, what a transformation.
It's quite a turnaround.
That's a perfect illustration of how a strong bond can develop between a mule and their handler.
Yeah.
It's not about breaking their spirit. It's about understanding their nature and working with it.
It sounds like an incredibly rewarding process, getting to know a mule and earning their trust.
It is.
But it also sounds like it requires a certain type of person.
It does.
Someone who's patient, observant, and willing to build that relationship over time.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that makes mules so special. They're not for everyone, but for the right person, they can be an incredible partner and companion.
We've talked about their strength, their sure-footedness, their intelligence, their cautious nature. What other surprising facts about mules should our listener know?
Okay, how about this?
I'm ready to be amazed.
Mules tend to live longer than horses.
Really?
Often reaching their 30s and 40s, and sometimes even 50s.
Wait, they live longer than horses. That's incredible.
It's true.
So not only are they hardy and strong, but they're also long-lived companions. That adds a whole new dimension to their appeal.
And they often require less care than horses.
Oh, wow.
Their hybrid vigor makes them more resistant to certain diseases and parasites. And they tend to have tougher hooves.
So they're like the low-maintenance, long-lasting version of a horse.
In a way, yes. But it's important to remember that they still need proper care, nutrition, and veterinary attention.
Right, of course.
It's like any other equine.
Responsible ownership is key, no matter what animal you have.
Absolutely.
And speaking of responsible ownership, the speaker in the video shares a cautionary tale about a bad experience they had buying a mule from a disreputable seller.
Oh, no.
They really emphasize the importance of finding reputable breeders or sellers who are honest and transparent about the mule's history and temperament.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Buying a mule shouldn't be an impulse decision.
Right.
It's important to do your research, ask questions, and make sure you're dealing with someone trustworthy.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're getting a healthy, well-adjusted mule that's a good fit for your experience level and the type of activities you have in mind.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right match, just like with any other animal companion.
Exactly.
You want a mule that suits your lifestyle and your personality. Speaking of personality, before we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious to know, what are mules really like? What kind of personalities do they have?
Well, like any animal, mules are individuals. They have their own quirks, their own preferences, their own ways of interacting with the world. But in general, they're known for being intelligent, curious, and often quite humorous animals.
Really?
They're not just workhorses. They can be incredibly engaging companions.
Sounds like a lot more to mules than meets the eye.
They really are.
I have to admit, you've piqued my curiosity.
Good.
I'm starting to see why people become so passionate about these animals.
Definitely.
We've journeyed from their unique hybrid origins and impressive physical traits to their historical significance and their surprising longevity.
It's quite a story.
Even debunked the myth of the stubborn mule, revealing their intelligence and cautious nature.
Right.
It's remarkable how a simple cross between a horse and a donkey can result in an animal so well suited to a variety of tasks and environments. It makes you wonder if we humans could learn a thing or two from mules.
Interesting thought.
About the benefits of combining different strengths and perspectives.
Perhaps that's the ultimate takeaway from our deep dive today. That diversity, in all its forms, can lead to unexpected and extraordinary outcomes.
That's a thought-provoking idea to leave our listener with.
I hope so.
So, dear listener, thanks to your excellent source material, you're well on your way to becoming a mule expert yourself.
You ready?
Who knows? Maybe someday you'll find yourself riding a mule down a mountain trail.
That'd be great.
Experiencing firsthand the unique bond and the incredible capabilities of these often overlooked animals.
And if you do, remember everything we've